an artist in the area who painted an 8x4 Obama portrait, now on display at Oakland Terrace Elementary in Kensington. Welcome to Coming Attractions, Jason.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you I just want to hear you talk. It's so
so romantic,
so mellifluous. Jason, why did you paint a Obama portrait 8x4 in a elementary school gymnasium?
Elementary school was had the space. Firstly, had a very large space. It needed scaffolding, and also it was a good opportunity for the kids to see what goes into a portrait.
I was going to say, that's a lot of little kids running around underneath your scaffolding there.
I mean, 300-400 kids in a lunchroom watching you paint, so they became the best critics, yeah.
Did they assist?
Oh yeah, I had to pop the milk tops off them for every now and then they would tell me what was wrong with the portrait, of course. You know.
Of course.
Yeah.
Who commissioned the work?
It was a friend I'd done some work for in the past. I'd painted a portrait of President Clinton going back in 2000, and the same guy had approached me about doing this portrait, but something big because of the event. And he was going to give it to the Obamas as a gift, and that's still pending because there's such a backlog with White House gifts. So we decided to put it back on display where it was painted.
So if I want to go see it, I have to go back to that school?
Back to the school.
Probably not at lunchtime.
And check with the kids first.
Yeah, okay, they really feel an ownership.
Yeah.
It's a very beautiful painting. I mean, it has, as we're looking here, it's got his favorite people who has looked up as he begins his presidency. Tell us about your painting of Crocodile Hunter.
Steve Irwin. I actually grew up with Steve. He was a few years older than me. I'd seen him surfing quite a bit out back when he had a small place on the side of the road. And just a real shock when I found out about him, dying. He was one of the locals, and I thought, what would be a good gift for his kids and Terry, his wife. So I decided to go ahead and paint a 5x4 foot portrait on canvas, which was shipped to Australia through the help of Discovery Channel and another company called Bovis Land Lease, a construction company. So we had to send in a big tube to Australia, and then they sent me out to Australia as well to present it at the zoo at the crocodile enclosure, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
You have a fascinating life story, and it would probably take the rest of the whole show to go through the whole thing, but here you are now. You're an artist and you're living locally, and what does the future hold for you? What are your media and projects?
Still like portraits. I've always been a portrait guy. Just I work in oils and canvas. I do sculptures as well as a sort of an outlet to get away from painting intense portraits. Every now and then I'll do a sculpture. I just did one of a military statue of the fallen soldier, which was sort of going to talk with actually Fort Hood in Texas to move it down to there. But portraits have been sort of my thing. I'll stick with portraits, whether it's sports or commissioned portraits or just regular everyday people. I just love portraits.
But it's more fun than that, because that piece you just talked about is a tree in your front yard?
Yeah, it was actually started off as a 8-foot log, an oak tree, which I'd carved with a chainsaw down to standard size, like a M16 with the boots and the helmet on top. It's about 7.5 feet tall now, and it's all got the laces, everything in it. So it was very detailed, and we're hoping to get it to a fairly well-known military installation for display as a sort of a tribute to the soldiers.
So what's your next venture?
Next venture, actually, I'm doing a TV show at the moment. We're shooting. I come in once a week and paint somebody famous. Okay. It's called Famous Faces, Familiar Places. And I do people as well as places that are well known, and I sort of explain a bit of background about the subject as well as how I go about doing a portrait. Mostly entertainment, not too much instructional. It's I'm not going to sit there and list all the colours.
This is like 30-minute meals. I mean, you
yeah, exactly. You can do it too.
Have it done by the end of the show. And
so yeah, it's like it's an hour show, and it's kind of jamming a 2 or 3 week portrait into 1 hour. So there's a lot of fast forward footage, and it's fun. It's more entertainment.
So what are some of the processes that you go through when you are designing a portrait?
Portrait is a series of photographs of obviously some people you can't come for a sitting, like Mr. Obama. You've got to look for a bunch of different representative photos, but sort of interpret your own colours into a portrait, because photos and paintings are two totally different mediums, and composition I find is the toughest. Once I get everything sorted out what I want to paint, the painting part I found quite easy. Just let me know what I need to paint. So.
And I can see how you'd take this vision of yours and you could sketch it on a wall, and then you could basically, not paint by number, but fill it in.
Yeah,
you don't do that with a tree, right?
Yeah, no.
You
Three-dimensional is totally
different. Let the image out of the tree, sort of.
Yeah, three-dimensional is totally different, and I've thrown out more pieces than I've made that I've had success with. So it's challenging, but it helps actually each other helps with each other. Portraits help me sculpt, and sculpting helps me portrait as well.
Okay.
I know that your mom had a little bit of art in her. Is that where you got it?
Yeah, she was a painter. You know, she, between looking after us as kids and she'd squeeze a few paintings in here and there, and we always had art in the family. You know, they were either musicians or painters, so we mostly self-taught. You know, I just wasn't a person to sit there and listen in the classroom and picked it up myself and made all the mistakes that you need to make to become an artist.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
For more information about Jason's exhibits or to see more of his gallery, visit www.jjswain.com or call 301-942-7007.